So we're rolling, so
Okay.
we can cut
So
it in
good.
and start at any time.
Ready, Joe? Joe?
Yep.
All right. What's your name?
I'm Sean Beckman,
How old are you?
38 years old.
What were you diagnosed with?
I was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer with mets to the liver.
What does that mean?
It means that it spread to the liver. So I was first diagnosed with colon cancer, and then when they did the PET scan, it was spread to my liver.
How long ago were you diagnosed with that?
I was diagnosed in April of 2015. Yep.
Wow. And not even a year later, you've gone through
12 rounds of chemo, and then I'll be getting in 2 months surgery on my liver to burn out the rest of the tumor.
wow. How does it affect your everyday life from where you started before this even was a thought, before this happened? What?
My main thought of everything, first when it came to mind, when the doctor came in and told me, was my son. And just about spending more time with my son, thinking about what's going to happen to him if something was to happen to me. Like when the doctor came in, he told me to get ready, get my everything in order, because if the chemo didn't work or if it ended up spreading, I had to have everything in order for my family.
Was he the first person you told?
First person that was told were my parents. They were in there when the colon doctor told me that it was stage 4.
So tell us a little bit more. Earlier we were having just a conversation without the cameras on, and you were talking about how the doctor explained to you that you had cancer. I was shocked by how he did it.
Yeah, when he first came in, when I was getting the colonoscopy, he said, well, here's a polyp, and then he taps you on the shoulder and goes, you have cancer.
Just like that.
Just like that. And
Oh my gosh.
I was like, well, how do you know? Don't you need to do a biopsy? And then he started explaining to me that your colon is clear. And when he was showing me on the screen that I had a size of a pinhole where stuff could basically get through. And so he says at over 30 years of experience that he could tell me right off the bat it was cancer.
Wow. I suppose at that point were you in shock? Did you have any other immediate thoughts? Maybe for your son
Not
that you
off
talked
the
about?
bat. When the doctor came in later on after my surgery, they took out 12 inches of my colon. And then he told me, he was the one that said, this is the plan. And when I was in there, I was by myself. So he told me that I was going to get 12 rounds of chemo, and he couldn't tell me for sure if the chemo was going to work. And then the second, he said, after we're done, you're going to get surgery on your liver.
Oh my gosh. Wow. We'll edit this part. So I got a lot of list of questions, and we're kind of going down different paths and trying to find some that really tie into this too. How long was it from when you were told that you had cancer before you went to your first surgery, and then just before you started chemo? How fast did this all happen?
Very fast. It all happened within 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. So when I went in for my colonoscopy, they ended up doing the PET scan that week, and then that following Monday is when I had surgery.
So not all of us know what a PET scan is.
A PET scan
basic?
is it does a full picture from head to toe of everything in you, and that's how they can tell if it's spread to your bones, if it's spread to your liver, your brain.
Wow. So one of the first things that you brought up when we asked, what was your first thought? It was about your son.
Mm-hmm.
How long did it take you to tell him? And how did you tell him?
It took me about 2 days to tell him because I had to grasp myself everything going on, the possibilities, And then I had to sit down with him and have the discussion with him about what the possibilities are, what the outcome could be, and I had to prepare him for the worst possible scenario.
Right.
What point did it sink in for you? Dire circumstances.
That day, after the doctor told me what the possibilities could be, I actually went into the hospital bathroom and just started crying because I had no idea what the outcome was going to be. Being at that time 37 years old, being told you had stage 4 cancer, and possibly dying, it just got overwhelming to me. Not knowing, also to him telling me, well, if you don't change your lifestyle, your eating habits, your exercise habits, you have an 85% chance of it coming back, and that will be it. And then also him telling me, well, if you didn't come in 6 to 8 months, you'd be dead.
So he basically said that you hit the
I hit the mark.
You hit the window just in time to be able to get to the stage you're at now.
Yes. If it would have been 6 to 8 months later, if I would have put it off, if I would have just ignored all the signs, then yes, I'd be dead right now.
Jeez. Tell us more about the chemo process. What is it like? What does it do to your body? How do you feel? What does it do? What are the effects?
The effects that I had were tired, achiness, and loss of hair. And during the process, I had to go in every Monday, and then it was 5 hours of just putting chemo in your body, and then they have what's called a chemo ball, which is the size of a softball that they connect you to, and you have that for 48 hours.
You carry around with you?
I carried it around with me. Yep, had a little pack. It's hooked up to my port that I have, and I still have it, and I'll have it for another good year to 2 years.
Were you able to work at all during this time, or is this?
No, because of the fact of being, it just really drains you. I mean, you're pretty much bedridden.
You worked before that?
Yes, I worked a good 10 to 12 hour days,
Wow.
all standing up, dealing with the public. And then what happens is, a lot of times, chemo got also pushed back because either your white count cells get too low or your platelets get too low. And if they get too low, you're more prone to infections, which I've had a couple times.
Any questions? I have a lot more, but I'm trying.
Yeah,
I'm trying to just
I'll let
stage it
you
so.
keep a couple in the hopper while you.
Healthcare. Who covers this? Were you insured? Did they take care of this? How much of a financial burden was this on you and your family?
For financially, my work took care of pretty much all my medical bills. So I had really good insurance through my work.
Okay.
And then they also offered Medicare that takes care of any other portions that my medical doesn't cover.
Okay.
And it was also nice to be able to get Social Security. So that's another portion that I was getting because of being stage 4. You're able to get Social Security. It's not